If you're in the mood for some originality in your anime, then look no further than The Dragon Dentist, because there's nothing else like this, and it is also quite the wild ride as well. Now, I think this is something we can all expect, considering that this is coming from the production studio that gave us the Evangelion rebuild movies, and also is directed by the director and creator of Fooly Cooly as well. So you can expect some crazy things to be happening here, and that's exactly what you're gonna get. So this movie follows a girl named Kishi, who lives in a dragon, and it's her job, along with a bunch of other people, to clean the teeth of the dragon, because apparently dragons cry through their teeth, and their tears are made up of putrid evil. This stuff is pretty gross. The world of Dragon Dentist is so bizarre that the 2 episodes don't offer nearly enough time for them to give us enough exposition in order to answer all of the questions that we're going to be asking when it comes to watching this, because there's so much going on here and they don't really explain much of it. Basically, there's a war between the humans and the dragon, and whenever somebody dies, their spirit gets trapped within the tooth of the dragon, and sometimes their spirit can escape from it, and then they just live on the dragon and become one of the dragon dentists and fight all the cavities that we see there. And there's such a wide range of cavities, ranging from the very small, little harmless ones all the way up to the giant ones that everybody is having to fight at once, and they can open up these portals on these teeth where they go into one tooth and come out another tooth. It's like a giant black hole, and they're all connected somehow or another, and they can just teleport around like that. And then all of the dentists have these red weapons, and they can pull off this charm off of it, and it transforms into a sort of a dragon weapon. It's really cool watching it, but there's not really a whole lot there to understand because they really don't explain a whole lot of this stuff. But it was actually pretty interesting to watch a lot of these fights and just seeing the world, because it was just really beautiful. This massive dragon that was flying above the world, and people were, they had these battleships down there. It was destroying the battleships. It was just a wild experience. What more can you say? We're also introduced to the character of Bernard as he climbs his way out of one of the teeth, meaning that he was actually on the ground. He was part of the battle down there, and he was one of the characters who died, and he just came out of one of the dragon's teeth. Was I the only one that didn't like his hairstyle? I just cringed every time I looked at him, because it just felt like the way that his hair was, it looked like a 4-year-old could have drawn it, because it's just like little straight strands of hair that come right in front of his face right there. It looked really weak, and I just couldn't help but cringe every time I saw that. So needless to say, Kishi and Bernard have their hands full while living inside of the dragon and fighting all of these cavities, and it was actually a lot of fun to watch this, because you would have all of these tiny little ones that they would be fighting, or maybe a giant one, and they would all gang up on them together. It kind of reminded me of something out of like Attack on Titan. So you had this the characters that are inside of this giant mouth that's like opening and closing, and you can see all the teeth in the background, and they're just like jumping all around inside of the mouth, ganging up on these giant black cavities. It was a lot of fun to watch that, and I feel as far as the actual story itself goes, they did a pretty good job in the second episode and going and showing us some of the backstories of the characters. But at the same time, I can't really say that that's something that I feel was warranted within this type of show, because by the first episode already, I had just thrown any sort of logic out of the window when I was just seeing all of the war that was going on, and they were fighting cavities with these mysterious weapons, and people were going in and out of teeth like that. So in addition to all of this intense action, we're also treated to beautiful scenery as well. I just love some of the breathtaking moments when we would see the dragon just flying and everything behind it, or you would just look outside of the dragon's mouth. It was just beautiful seeing all that. Oh yeah, and we also had this. So The Dragon Dentist was originally an 8-minute long episode that was a part of Hideaki Anno's Animators Expo, and you don't need to watch that, by the way. It's basically just parts of the anime that we see here, and it's not really adding anything to it, so there's no point in watching that. But I did watch that, and I feel like at first this was basically just a really unique premise that they wanted to turn into an anime, but it's not a very tightly knit story. The second episode tries to go more into the backstory of some of these characters and explain where they came from, but at the same time, they're just not given enough time to these characters for any of that to really matter. However, there was a pretty touching ending, I will say that, but overall, this is something that I don't think a lot of people are going to be coming into this movie expecting a very engaging story with very well-detailed characters here. This is just something that you come into for a lot of fun, and that's what I had with this. I enjoyed it. Now, as far as the art and animation are concerned, I think they did a great job here. So, the animation, the fights were fluid, the movements were fluid. I loved watching the fights, and then we see that the dragon and the battleships were made using CG, and I thought they did a great job with that as well, because normally I have a big complaint about CG because it's just this very poor animation, frame rate, everything just moves so stiff like a robot, and I think they did a pretty good job with these two things here. And as far as the art style, this is where I have my big issue with it. It's not really that big of a deal, but it's just something that I noticed. It was that the characters, they would look really good sometimes, and other times they would just lack a lot of detail. It was inconsistent for the most part, but other than that, I don't think there's really a whole lot of issues in terms of the animation that a lot of people are really going to notice or really care about. It's just something that I noticed and wanted to mention for the review. So I would recommend this movie for anybody out there who just wants to watch something, and yeah, I called it a movie again. I recommend this 2-episode anime for anybody out there who just wants to watch something to relax and have some fun. It's just a fun experience overall. It's not the best thing that you're going to find, but it is worth a watch. If you've seen The Dragon Dentist, let me know about that in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the review, be sure to subscribe. Also, if you want to support, check out the Patreon, where we have this review along with a lot others that are uploaded maybe a week early before people see them on YouTube, so you get that early access to the videos along with a lot of other things that you can get for helping out the channel here. So anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.